Take Me Out to the Ball Game. That music always brings back some wonderful memories of my baseball days. And my fondest memories are of one particular team called the Mighty Mustangs. You've probably never heard of them because they played for only one season. But oh, what a season it was. I can tell you this story because I was there. I was part of it all. The story begins once upon a time in the early spring in the little Arizona town of Maricopa, home of the Mighty Mustangs. I had taken over as coach of the hometown team because, frankly, nobody else would do the job. The Mustangs were the worst team in the major leagues. They hardly ever won a game, so our stadium was always empty. Our team didn't have any fans. But that season, it all began to change. We picked up 3 new players, and these kids started turning things around. 2 of the newcomers were brothers, the Garrett boys out of Gordonsville, Virginia. Brady was a natural-born pitcher. He had a smoking fastball that was impossible to hit. His kid brother, Rylan, we called him Rudy or sometimes just Roo, he was one of the best infielders I'd ever seen. Good hands, lightning speed, and nothing ever got by him. The 3rd newcomer who helped to turn the Mustangs around was Cooper James Donaldson out of Gilbert, Arizona. Cooper was our star behind the plate. He had an arm that could nail even the fastest base runner trying to steal second. Brady, Rudy, and Cooper were the heart of our defense, and they were great hitters as well, belting out the hits, game after game. On the strength of these 3 boys, the Mustangs started winning. Our fans came back. And we kept on winning, right through the spring, the summer, and into the magic month of September. We were nearing the end of the regular season with the best record in the major leagues. We were headed for the World Series. And then, disaster struck. Our boys had played so hard all year long they had pushed themselves to the limit, and suddenly injuries started. Our right fielder was hurt on a play at second base. Our first baseman was out for the season. Then our left fielder went down, then our third baseman. Suddenly we didn't have enough players to even field a team. When we started to forfeit the last few games of the season, most of the other players decided to leave too. I was left with just my 3 star players, Brady, Rudy, and Cooper. The other players had given up on us, and I guess we were ready to give up too. We had had our glorious moment in the sun, but for the once mighty Mustangs, that baseball season was over and done. When the injuries left us without a team, there was nothing we could do but sit back and forfeit the final games of the season and watch the other teams close in on our record. We couldn't get a single player to join us and help us put a team back together. It was a painful time. At one point, I overheard the boys talking, and one of them said, "Only a chimpanzee would be interested in playing for our team." Suddenly, I had an idea. It sounded pretty crazy at first, I admit, but I thought, what do we have to lose? I talked it over with the people at the local zoo. They thought it was a pretty crazy idea too, but they finally agreed to release their 6 chimpanzees to my care to see what would happen. We took the chimps straight to the field so we could start teaching them how to play baseball. After a few minutes with them, I was beginning to think this crazy idea might just work out after all. The chimps seemed to really enjoy the game, and they took it very seriously. They listened carefully when the boys and I gave them instructions. No nonsense, no monkeying around. They worked hard, and I only had to pay them peanuts. The only problem came when the newcomers demanded to change the name of the team. I put it up for a vote. I guess I wasn't thinking. And that's how our team became the Mighty Monkeys. When the other teams had played out the season, we still had the best record in our division. So the Mighty Monkeys went to the division playoffs, and we swept the series in 3 games. We went on to the league championship series, claimed the pennant with 4 straight games. And we were headed for the World Series. By the opening game of the World Series, Brady, Cooper, and Rudy and the Chimps were playing some of the best baseball I'd ever seen. But we were up against a very powerful team, the Colorado Rockies. The Rockies took Game 1, the first loss for the Monkeys. We came back in Game 2. Then the series went back and forth until we came to Monkey Stadium, tied with 3 games each and ready for tie-breaking game number 7. It was a pitcher's duel all the way. No one could get a man across the plate, and we went into the top of the 9th inning with a score of 0-0. With 2 outs, the Rockies' cleanup batter belted one out of the park. We headed for the dugout, trailing 1-0, with one last chance at bat. Our leadoff hitter went down on 3 strikes. Cooper came to the plate and belted a long fly ball to the wall in center field. He made it to second base, safe. Our third batter came to the plate, hit a grounder to the shortstop, and was out at first. Then it was Rudy's turn at bat. He swung at the first pitch and lined a single into right field. Cooper made it to third. Now our cleanup batter, Brady, stepped up to the plate with 2 outs. Cooper on third, Rudy on first. Suddenly, Brady could hear the wild cheering in the stands, and he could feel the pressure of the entire World Series riding on his shoulders. He took a nervous swing at the first pitch, a changeup, for strike 1. The noise of the fans grew louder. He looked at a high fastball that just caught the outside of the plate. Strike 2. Suddenly, the Monkeys were down to the last swing of the bat. If Brady couldn't come through, the Monkeys would lose the World Series. On the mound, the pitcher took a slow windup, then delivered the pitch. 100-mile-per-hour fastball right over the plate. Brady brought the bat around, putting every ounce of strength he had into a mighty swing. With the crack of the bat, the crowd went wild. The Mighty Monkeys had done it. They had won the World Series. And that's my story of how a bunch of monkeys, led by my 3 favorite monkeys, made baseball history.